Do you like stealing? Do you like getting naughty for Santa? Well, then this video is the one for you. I don't know what is up with me because today Jesus Christ, I am gonna be analyzing two videos that I made on Grinch Simulator, two different paths, and I'm gonna be analyzing these videos. I'm going to be skipping throughout the videos because obviously I'm not going to show every single second of the videos. And then I'm going to be giving out some tips for Grinch Simulator if you are interested in this. So Grinch will come out at the Christmas update, which usually comes out in December and lasts to about maybe January something, whatever. So it's a seasonal game. Now, the next segment is, am I qualified to make this video? Because obviously if you don't know me, you may not know that you may think to yourself, oh well, is he qualified to talk about this? Is he good at Grinch Simulator? So if I could show you here, I have two accounts, which my main one that I currently use is in the top 21, sitting at 561 wins and about 40,800 presents stolen. And my second one, which used to be my old main, is in the top 70 and it has 206 wins with 14,491 presents stolen. So in my humble opinion, I think that I am qualified to talk about this subject. Now, let's first analyze the first path. So I'm going to be skipping, so yeah, let's just here. So as you can see in Grinch Simulator, you kind of spawn in this bridge and you have two paths. The first one is this, where there's this little bush here. And the other one is this, where there's this huge, Christmas tree. So this first path basically takes place on this side where there's this little bush. So I'm going to be skipping a little bit. All right, so this is the start of the game. So first what you're going to want to do is see if there's any presents around the bridge, but you also want to be fast. So you want to take presents here around the bridge, then see if there's any presents on your way to the first house. So as you can see, there were some presents here left outside of these houses and of this Christmas tree. And so the first house is this purple one, which is on the left. And there's also usually a present here on the back side of the house. So this is the first house. Now, on this run, I think that I could have went a bit faster. I don't think that I went the fastest that I possibly could. So there's the first house, and the second house is the one next to it. So this is where you enter the house, so through a window, basically. Now, on this run, I got lucky and unlucky at the same time, but I'm going to explain that a bit later. So, I mean, yeah, Grinch Simulator, basically you go around and you steal presents, and I mean, that's it. Now, me, I'm just here to tell you the most optimal path, kind of. So as you can see, I already know in which house I'm gonna go. So this is where I wanted to kind of explain something. If, where did I get lucky and where did I get unlucky on this path? I got unlucky by the amount of presents that were on the path in the houses and etc. So this path usually, it's kind of a hit or miss in terms of the amount of presents that are present in the houses. But there's always many presents on the roof of this path, so of this side of the map. Now, where I got lucky is that no one was on this path. So obviously not every single game is going to be like this. Some games you're going to queue and players will go on the same side where you go. If that's the case, you have to get creative. Now, because I know every single house I'm going to go in, what you can do is if you see a player go into the house where you're about to go, you can just skip the house and so you get ahead of the player, because if you go to the same house, then there's a high chance of that player going into the same house where you were gonna go next, you know. So you're gonna want to skip houses basically if you see players going on the same path where you are going. Now, on this run, I got lucky, obviously, and there were not any players on this side. Basically, every single player was on the other side, so you won't get that lucky, obviously. So I hopefully you catched where I was going. So this is kind of the next house that I go to. Usually there's a lot of presents here. This is the house where more presents are located. And also you can prioritize houses that have, you know, because this one has like 3 floors. So you can prioritize houses that are bigger, obviously. So here I got lucky with the presents as well. But as you can see here on the roofs, there are a lot of presents, and I decide to go into this house. But also another tip: if you go into a house and you see that there are not many presents, that probably means that there was already a player in that house. So in that case, what you want to do is skip that house, go to your roof, or go to the next house that you were planning on going. So I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit because the thing I'm doing is just collecting presents in this house. And then on the roof here, so on this side, on the roofs, there's usually a lot of presents. And so because the roofs are like very large, and I guess just more presents spawn here, then then I'd usually go into this house. Now this house is a little bit tricky because the way you get into it is you enter through a chimney, and because of that, the house, it takes a long time to go back to the roofs. So if you go into the house blind and you don't know if there are presents in the house or not, then that can be a huge miss and a huge waste of time if you go into the house but you realize that there was already someone that went here. So then the rest of the video I just spent time on the roofs collecting presents because there were a lot of presents. And really make sure to look at the whole every single roof, because every single present counts basically in this game. And so also sometimes what you can do is before you go into a house or in a certain section of the roof, you can look at the map basically. You can look at the map and kind of see if there are any presents or not. So presents on the map are shown by like little white dots. And so on this run I didn't really look at the map, but as you can see, this first path I got 71 presents. So that's really good. That's like the hardest challenge achievement is, I think, 70 presents. Now, of course, I think my record is about 95 or something around that number. I didn't go to 100 yet, I think. I didn't get to that. But yeah, that's the first path. So this path is kind of a hit or miss because on this run, I got really lucky because there was no one on this path. But usually, you know, there are going to be some players that are going to go into houses where you want to go, basically. I'm sorry if you hear some sounds around me. There's some work going on in the apartment right next to mine, so that's why there's a lot of sounds. Now, this first run really is kind of not very free. It doesn't give you much freedom because you're stuck to one side. And so if there are a lot of players on this side, sure, you can skip houses, but once you skipped all the houses, you'll just end up being on the roofs. And then once you collect all the presents on the roofs, then you're going to be confused and you're not going to know where to go. That is where the second run comes in. And this is the second path, and as you can see, this one is better. This one is better because it uses both sides. So it starts on the same side, but it uses both sides. So I have another path on the other side of the map, which is better to kind of have a path that's across the whole map. So as you can see, I go into this first house on the left here, and I mean I just collect presents that are in the house. Then, sorry, I think I skipped too fast. I go into this greenhouse right next to it, so I got lucky with the amount of presents that are in the house here. So I just collect the most amount of presents here. So as you can see, we started on the same side, but we kind of went into different houses. So I kind of went into different houses here, because it's good to kind of, you know, have a path for every single house and for every single side of the map. Also, one thing that I didn't mention is that houses can change layouts. So for example, this house, as you may have noticed, it had a different layout from the you know, from the first video. So it's the same house, but usually there are different layouts in the same houses. So I mean, yeah, I'm just collecting presents here. And oh, I think I skipped too fast, sorry. What I did is I jumped across this window over here. And if you remember, this is the house where on the first run, this is the first house that I went into. So as you can see, this is kind of a different path. And in my opinion, this is maybe even better than the first one, because it's kind of, you go into more houses, and once again, you know, I got kind of lucky because no one went on this path, and I got lucky with the amount of presents. So, you know, there's some luck involved, but if you know, have an optimal path that uses both sides and both sections of the map, then you'll have no problem collecting as many presents as you can, and, you know, getting all the achievements and winning the game, basically. So on this run, I went a bit faster, and so because I went a bit faster, then maybe I got better results. Now, as you can see, this house has a completely different layout from on the first run. And so basically, when the layout of the house is like this, usually it is a bit worse, meaning there are not as many presents as there are on the first layout. So, you know, if you see that there are not many presents, you can skip the house. So yeah, obviously the next thing I go is to the roof. But then, as you can see, I can see the name tag of this player right here, meaning that I already know that the presents in this house were taken. Now, what I do is I just want to check if they took the presents on the third floor, and I noticed that they didn't, so I took the presents that weren't taken. So the next thing I do is go on the roof here. And as you can see, I didn't go into the house with the chimney, but instead I skipped the roof on the first section, and I went to the second part of the map. And so here, I usually go up this tree over here and go onto this roof, which is usually packed with presents. But as you can see, I looked at the map to see if there are any presents on this roof. If I would have seen that on the map there are not many presents, then I would have skipped the roof entirely. And usually I go either here on this roof, or I go right into the next house. So as you can see here, I got unlucky because there was this guy who took the presents. But in this case, sorry, I'm lagging, not lagging, but I'm kind of fell here. So this is the first house that I get into. This is a house that is notoriously hard to get in. I think that window is basically the only way you can get in. Sometimes you can get through a window on the third floor as well, but you know, I think the easiest way to get is on through this window. So as you can see, this path kind of uses the whole map, and because of that, I think it's better. So I got a bit unlucky with the amount of presents in this house, but it's, you know, you don't have to worry because you have the whole section, the whole roof on the second kind of part of the map is all for you. And, you know, you can basically look at the map, see if there are any presents on the roof. But if there are not many presents on the roof, then I usually go into this house. So if you didn't catch it, let me just replay it. I went out from this window, and so the roof has, I think, what these are like stone blocks or stone bricks, whatever. And so usually I go into this house. Now make sure to look all the way around you. And yeah, so it looks like I ran out of time here. Usually I'd get more presents on this part, but as you can see, because there were not many presents on the second floor, probably means that there was already someone that went here. So usually what I'll do is I'll skip this house and just look at the map and see where there are any presents left. But this is the second path. Now this is a much better path in my opinion, because it allows for more freedom, because this path uses both parts of the map. And so, you know, if you see that there are not many presents in a house or on a certain section of the roof, you can always look at the map and, you know, go where you see that there are more dots, basically. So, so I think that's going to be it for this video. I don't think I have many more tips. I think that's really it. So to kind of recap, if a player goes to the same house that you wanted to go, skip that house and go to the next house that you wanted. If you go into a house and you see that it's kind of empty, there are not many presents, that probably means that there's already a player, or there was already a player in that house, so it already got looted, and so you can skip the house as well. The third tip is, no matter where you go, always, you know, look at the map, because sure, you have paths that you know by heart, but it's always good to look at the map, because if you go into a house or on a certain section of the roof blind, then you may, you know, enter a house and you think there's a lot of presents, but there ends up being no presents in the house, and so that's a huge waste of time. And so because of that, it's always good to look at the map, especially on this second path when you are changing sides of the map. It's always good to, you know, look at the map, because you know, to see where there are the most presents. And the fourth tip, I would say, is just be quick, be fast. If you see that there's a player in a house, just immediately go into the next house. Of course, when you are in between houses, when you're not in the house, you can basically, you know, take the presents that are kind of scattered on, you know, outside of the houses. So you can take those presents as well. So really make sure to look carefully around you and just be quick. If you are, first of all, choose a path, and also learn paths, because once you learn a path, especially this one, if you learn it by heart, then you just have to be quick. You can't stutter, you can't, you know, make any mistakes. You have to be quick, especially if you queue some good players. Then you have to be quick, because sometimes what happens is, if good players see that you're very good as well, they just leave the game, and then it's kind of a free game for you. So yeah, I really hope this video helped you. I really don't know why I'm so passionate about a game where you steal presents from houses, but I don't know. For me, when I first got into this game, it was kind of therapeutic for me. It was different from what I grinded. I mean, there is not any PvP involved. It's just you go around, you steal presents, and even if you're not first, it's kind of fun, you know. And but it's kind of fun, and it can be, you know, relaxing as well. But it's also sweaty if you want it to be. It can be sweaty as well. So yeah. And also, if you're trying to get as many arcade wins for, I don't know, the tier 5 tiered achievement, then I mean, this is by far the easiest game if you learn paths and if you learn how to be good at the game. So yeah, that's it for me. Hopefully this video helped you, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day or have a good night, and stay safe. Bye.